Hey guys, it's Vicky here. Do you have expensive urine? Now you may be sitting there wondering, why is she asking me, do I have expensive urine? Have you ever heard that phrase? It's used a lot of times in conjunction with supplements and vitamins on the market. So let me ask you a question. Are you taking vitamins daily? Does it really matter where you get your vitamins if you are? Does it matter what's in them? These are all things that we're going to discuss in this upcoming video. So if you're someone who's currently taking supplements and you want to make sure you're getting everything you need, or maybe you've thought about taking supplements and you're not sure if you need them, stay with me, hang tight here because we're going to discuss all that in this video. If you like what you see, please give it a thumbs up. Also hit the subscribe button so you'll know about future videos and topics that I'll be discussing. So glad that you're here. I want you to stay with me. Hey guys, so why in the world would I ask you, do you have expensive urine? Have you ever heard that term? Have you ever heard that phrase? It's normally used in conjunction when people are talking about vitamins and supplements. So normally where you'll hear that phrase is if I were to tell someone, hey, yeah, take these vitamins, here's what they do for me. And someone may say, look at me and say, oh, that's just expensive urine. What they are saying is that they don't work and you're just paying money to have something move through your system that doesn't work. Do you think that's true? Have you maybe said that yourself? Have you heard that? Has someone said that to you? We're going to talk about today in this video, pretty much we're going to talk about, I want to hit the topics. Are you currently taking any vitamins? If so, do you think it matters where you get your vitamins? If not, do you even really feel the need to take vitamins at all if you're not taking vitamins? We're going to talk about all of that. We're going to answer those questions with scientific facts and truth. We're going to go over some data and some things of what's going on in our society so that we can determine for ourselves, finally, once and for all, do we really need to be taking vitamins? And if so, where should we be getting them from and what should we be looking for in our vitamins? Sound good? Hope so. I've had a few people asking me about this, and so I wanted to bring this info to you. So I'm glad to be here doing that today. So first off, we're going to tackle a question. First of all, do we really need to take vitamins and supplements? So what do you think? Do you think we really need to take them? Are vitamins just a bunch of hype? Are you someone who maybe thinks that? Or maybe you've said that? It's just another way for people to make money, right? I have quite a few friends and family members that think that about vitamins. Do you think that? There's no judgment here, just asking. We need to see where we're all coming from and how we're starting off, because I'm going to answer all these questions, and it's okay if you think that. There's nothing wrong with that, because we're going to look at some scientific facts and different things I just want to point out so that you're as educated as possible. So if that's what you think, then if you'll have education and facts as we go into things and we start thinking about maybe should I take vitamins or not, you can make the best informed decision for yourself. For a minute, let's go ahead and hit the pause button for just a second, because I want to talk about something else, and then we'll go back in, we'll dive back in to the details of what we're going to talk about today, okay? I want us all to consider this for just a moment, okay? What if we don't have a health problem in this country as much as we have a priority and a mindset problem? Have you ever thought about that? Because from what I am seeing, I would say that's our biggest problem. It's not as much a health problem as it is our mindset and our priorities. In this video, here's where I'm going to challenge you. I've challenged myself here, I've challenged family members and other friends, and I want to challenge you on this as well. I'm going to challenge you and help show you that focusing on convenience and cost are killers to our health. So many times we're focused on the convenience and the cost of doing things to keep us healthy, and that keeps us from doing the things we should. Those two things should never be a determining factor in your health and in you achieving the best health possible. So if that's something you're doing, let's take a step back. And I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I just want to challenge you to think a different way possibly today and to look at things differently. Can we agree to that? Is everybody good with that? Okay, we're going to hit play again. We're going to go back to the programming we were doing. We're going to jump back into our agenda, but I just want you to keep that in mind. So, in order to answer the question above that we just talked about, which was, do we need to take vitamins daily? Does it matter where you get them from? We must take a look at where we're supposed to naturally get our micronutrients, okay? There is a place where we're supposed to naturally get that, and that's in our food, right? So let's take a look at our food, what vitamins are in there, how we need to get these vitamins, Sorry, I just paused for a moment. I was thinking and talking at the same time. As well as maybe why they're important. And let's look at our food source and kind of what's going on with that, okay? So what's the problem with our food supply? Well, part of it is we aren't getting enough nutrients from what we eat. Did you know that? That most of us don't get the amount of nutrients we need from the food that we eat. Why is that? Well, our food supply contains a lot of things in there that cause this. Our food supply contains GMO foods, a lack of nutrients, and toxic chemicals. All three of those things are contained in the large abundance of the food supply that we're eating out there, whether you're going out and getting it pre-made or if you're going to the grocery store and buying it and cooking it for yourself. So why or how does this affect our proper uptake of nutrients? Let's look at these individually. Let's look at GMO specifically now, okay? Let's talk about the GMO supply going on in the food. If you don't know what GMO stands for, that's a popular term out there. You hear it used all the time. It stands for genetically modified organism. Okay? It's a big, big industry, guys. We're not going to dive into that in this video. That's another video for another time, another place. But you need to be familiar with what it means and know that not only does it exist, but it exists in a large overabundance in our society right now, okay? The primary traits, if you're not sure what it looks like, GMO food, the primary traits are herbicide and pesticide resistance, okay? In order to make a crop, herbicide or pesticide, or I should say a crop or a certain type of food, a vegetable or fruit or meat or whatever it is, in order to make it herbicide and pesticide resistant, to do this, an individual, a company, whoever, must inject DNA from one species into the DNA of another species. So technically what you're doing is you are altering chemically at the DNA level one species. So let's take a tomato, for example. In order to make it GMO, and in order to alter it, they would take a tomato, they would take DNA from another species and literally inject it into the DNA of that tomato to cause it to be herbicide and pesticide resistant. Whenever you alter anything genetically at the DNA level, you're going to get some very interesting and not so good results, okay? So what does herbicide tolerance mean? Think of this as Roundup Ready. It's engineered with genes from bacteria, pieces of viruses, and etc. And that's going to make, again, things herbicide resistant. So farmers can spray crops with herbicide and kill weeds and other things, but not kill the crop itself. Again, engineering it. And they're engineering it from bacteria, pieces of viruses, and other things. So again, that gets in those crops, it's soaking in, you're consuming it. It's a problem. So why do they do this? Again, we just said, so when you spray with Roundup, which is a chemical poison used to kill weeds, it won't kill the plants. That's why they do it. Okay? Pesticide resistance, you use a gene from bacteria in the soil, and you inject this gene into crops. Okay, so that's the difference between herbicide and pesticide resistance. Why would they do this? Why would they do that for pesticide resistance? It's so that when a bug tries to bite the plant, it causes a hole in their stomachs and they die. So the whole idea is to try to keep bugs from eating your crops, right? Let me give you a little knowledge nugget here. Okay, we're going to have a few of these throughout this. Here's why plants don't need and shouldn't, and here's why we don't need our plants to have, and we shouldn't want our plants to have pesticides to prevent crop destruction by bugs. Okay, I'm going to give you a little bit of a science knowledge nugget here. Plants produce something, and they produce this naturally, called bioflavonoids. Okay, and you've probably heard of those before because they're good for your health, and we'll discuss why in a minute. But plants produce bioflavonoids to protect themselves, but they only produce these under stressful conditions. They are used to protect themselves from anything coming at them from the outside that's trying to attack them or harm them. In turn, these bioflavonoids are great for us. We need them at the cellular level to do so many different things. Bioflavonoids are so crucial to our cells for proper cell functioning. They're a great source of antioxidants. They're also anti-inflammatory. They aid in the anti-inflammatory response, and so much more. So these bioflavonoids are great for us, but we only get them from plants that are under stress because it's the only time they produce them. So then if plants are being sprayed with herbicides to prevent bugs from biting them, the plants are never put under stress to produce that. So we're not getting the bioflavonoids out of them. Problem, right? It is. There are 9 different GMO crops on the market. So I want to discuss these. I want to go over them so that you're familiar with them. And here's the thing. You may be thinking after I say what these 9 are, that's only 9 crops. There's so many more out there. I'll just avoid those. What you need to realize is that in these 9 crops constitutes about 90% of a lot of what we eat that's out there. Because most of us don't realize some of these crops are the large majority of what we eat, or they're put into or mixed in with a large majority of what we eat. So the 9 GMO crops on the market are corn, soy, cotton, alfalfa, papaya, canola, sugar beets, potatoes, and rice. Yep, potatoes and rice, those are 2 big crops for us. And so is corn. That's used in so much, in wheat. So again, those are the 9 GMO crops, and like I said, I just named 4 for you that are used in 90% or more of the food and the food supply that's out there. So for fun, just do this for fun. Go ahead, go online and Google current lawsuits with Monsanto, who is the maker of most of the organophosphates that's out there, and the maker of a lot of the GMO stuff that's used on the market today. Just Google it for fun and look and see what's going on. If you don't believe what I'm saying, don't take me on my word, Google it and see. One of the other problems that you'll see is that more than 90% of the restaurants out there use GMO foods in their supply. It's just in their food supply. So even when you're trying to eat the best you can when you go to a restaurant and you're looking for items and ingredients that you know are some of the better things to eat, the large majority of the food supply comes from GMO crops. So that's the first thing that we were talking about that we have to face, and what's wrong with the food that's out there and why we're not getting all the nutrients we need is that GMOs are out there. The second thing I mentioned was a lack of nutrients in our food supply. So what do I mean by that? What do I mean by a lack of nutrients? Well, there are 2 reasons for this, that you have a lack of nutrients in your food. It's due to soil depletion and eating fruits and vegetables out of season. So we're going to break each of these down individually so you understand what I'm talking about. So what do I mean by soil depletion? If you're not familiar with that term, or if you've never grown something in a garden, or you've never lived on a farm or worked on a farm, or you're not familiar, this is something that's important to know, and so we're going to go over it. Soil depletion, what I mean by that is due to a lack of crop rotation, which is what's needed in order to replenish minerals back in the soil. It's something that we haven't been doing for 60 plus years in our commercial farming in this country. And due to a lack of it in this country for that long, even clean non-GMO crops that are being grown out there commercially, they don't get the nutrients they need because of this. Let me give you an example of what I mean. My husband and I have a big greenhouse. He grew up with a greenhouse and they always grew stuff fresh and he knew how to do that. So I'm so glad that he has that ability and we're able to do that. So there are 2 things that we grow pretty regularly. Green beans and I'm trying to think what's the other one we rotate with. Green beans and I believe corn. Are those the 2 that rotate? Okay, my husband's running the camera, so I'm looking at him to see and he's saying yes. So hey, I don't know all this stuff. I have to rely on my expertise here. So with our green beans and corn, those 2 crops are 2 crops that you would rotate between each other because one of them gives off a lot of nitrogen and the other one requires a lot of nitrogen in the soil in order for it to grow. So when we plant out there, let's say when we get ready to plant again in the spring, wherever we plant the green beans and wherever we plant the corn, once we get a full crop out of those, when we go to plant again, we will rotate the beds that they're in. The corn will go to the bed that the green beans grew in and vice versa. The green beans will go to the bed that the corn grew in. And that's called crop rotation because one's giving off what the other one needs in the soil and the other one is putting back into the soil what it needs. That doesn't happen in commercial farming, and it hasn't for 60 plus years. So even though you're planting, even if it's non-GMO seeds and stuff you're putting in the ground, if the soil is depleted of the nutrients that particular crop needs, you're not going to get the nutrients of it. Make sense? It's a problem. So let's talk about the other thing I mentioned, which what's wrong with eating fruits or veggies out of season, out of the season when they typically grow? Well, because we get most of our food commercially processed for us or commercially grown and shipped to us, here's what's wrong with that. Let me give you an example. For example, in this country, in the United States, in winter months, most of our fruits and veggies come from South America. And you may be thinking, what's the big deal on that? We get food from all over. Here's why that matters, because here's what it does, okay? In order to be fresh when they arrive, those fruits and veggies that are coming from South America, they must be picked prematurely, which means they're being picked way before they're ready to be picked. And when you do that, they don't have all the nutrients they need yet. They're not fully mature. They haven't gotten to that place where they're going to be able to give you everything they need, for one. They're picked prematurely. Then they're ripened under what's called ethylene gas in transport vehicles, and that ripens the fruit artificially. So not only are we picking them prematurely to where they don't have anything naturally they're supposed to have, then we're using an artificial ingredient to ripen them and to get them there faster so they're ready when they hit the stores. But what's being used to ripen them, ethylene gas, is toxic. It's highly toxic to our bodies. So now we're adding a toxin into it that we're consuming. So do you see where this can be a problem, eating out of season, especially in our country and how we're trying to feed a lot of people? So again, these are two of the problems that we're having with our food supply and why there's a lack of nutrients in our food supply, okay? The third thing I mentioned we have GMO, a lot of GMO in our food supply. We have a lack of nutrients. The third thing is toxic chemicals that are mixed in with our food supply. What do I mean by that? How's that happening? Well, we've already discussed this profusely, but there's one thing that I haven't mentioned yet. Okay, I've mentioned a lot of the things with the pesticides and the herbicides, but one thing we haven't talked about is the exorbitant amount of antibiotics. The exorbitant amount of antibiotics that are in our food supply. And there are. Guys, this isn't a fallacy. This isn't something I'm making it up. You can Google a lot of facts on this. And like I have in-depth videos and stuff I can do later on in another place I can let you know about where I can give you that information. But we do have a lot of antibiotics going into our food supply. Here's another knowledge nugget. You got one earlier? I'm going to give you another scientific knowledge nugget here. Did you know that 80% of all antibiotics sold in the U.S. are not given to people, but they're given to animals? 80% of all antibiotics sold and prescribed are prescribed to animals, not people. So even if you're not taking it yourself, if you're eating meat from animals that have had antibiotics given to them, and they give them a profusely large amount. If you're eating meat where an animal has taken those large amounts of antibiotics, you're getting the antibiotics into your system. So, with all those that we just talked about, do you still think, if you're one of those people that thought, I don't need vitamins, I can get it from eating right, I eat pretty healthy, I'm good. After what we just discussed, do you think you still get all the nutrients you need from your food supply? Let's check some current stats, okay? 90% of people in the United States are vitamin D deficient. That's a large amount. That's more than the majority. That's almost all of us, okay? More than 90% of people in the world are iodine deficient. More than 90% of people in the world, not just the U.S., are iodine deficient. And they don't even know it. Well, why does this matter? Iodine is an important micronutrient that your cells need for some very specific functioning things. Okay? This is a mineral that's an essential component of thyroid hormones. You need iodine for your thyroid to function properly. How many people do you know have thyroid disorders? They have hypothyroidism, hyperthyroidism. A lot of people have different issues with their thyroid and they don't even realize it because it's linked to so many other issues and conditions people have and they don't realize that. Okay? There are specific hormones, T3 and T4. Won't necessarily tell you the names of those because they're long and they may not make sense to you, but they are specific thyroid hormones. These hormones regulate metabolic activities of most cells, and they play a vital role in the early growth and development of most of your organs, and especially of the brain. So guys, if we're not getting enough iodine, our cells aren't getting what they need, you're going to have a lot of issues with regulating things at the cellular level in a bunch of different organs, not just your thyroid, but a bunch of different organs. So this stuff matters. So iodine levels have decreased by 50% in the last 30 years. That's a significant drop. They've dropped by half in the last 30 years. In the US, 43% of people are vitamin C deficient. 94% of adults are vitamin E deficient. 61% are magnesium deficient. 57% are vitamin A deficient. And 49% are calcium deficient. That's a lot of deficiencies going on. And all of those except for one were more than 50% of the population. Based on all this, I think we've answered the question about whether we need to be taking vitamins. Guys and gals, the answer is yes. Flat out, the facts tell you the answer is yes. We need to be taking vitamins. Okay? Because there's no way we can get everything we need with the current state of how we eat and our food supply. So now that we know that, let's discuss, does it matter where we get our vitamins from? Aren't they all pretty much the same? I mean, do you think that? They're all pretty much the same. You may pay a little more for some here depending on where you buy it or the name of the vitamin. They all pretty much do the same thing for you. How many of you have thought that? How many of you know people that think that? How many of you currently think that? Is it true? Let's see. Let's dive into that a little more. So, there's a mantra I hear a lot of people saying. I want to discuss this first. Kind of want to go down this road because I want to get you thinking about this as we go into it. I hear a lot of people say, listen, I know I'm buying vitamins at the store and they may not be the best thing, but I'm taking them because something's better than nothing, right? That could not be more of an incorrect, dangerous statement than I've heard. No, that is not true. Let me tell you why. Let me give you another scenario to think about that. So you're saying with vitamins, or getting the right nutrients in your body, something's better than nothing, right? At least if I'm getting a little bit of something, even if it isn't the best, it's better than nothing. Okay, let me ask you this. Are you a parent? If you're not, are you an uncle? Are you an aunt? Are you a grandparent? Do you know someone that has kids? So what if, let's say, I'm a parent of four-legged furry kids. I don't have little human kids, but let's say I did. And let's say I was sitting here telling you a story and I was like, yeah, I get up, I get my kids dressed, I feed them, I make sure they fed, and I drop them off at school. Now, and you ask me, okay, what do you do with the rest of your day? I tell you, and you're like, okay, you go pick them up. No, don't pick them up. Do you have someone pick them up? No, don't worry about that. They can find their way back home. They can feed themselves dinner, they can get to bed. And I tell you, hey, something's better than nothing, right? I got up, I got them fed, I got them to school. That's better than nothing, right? For parenting, they can get themselves home. Does that even make sense? You would call me the world's worst parent, right? It's the same kind of concept and idea to say, something's better than nothing. Something is not better than nothing when that something is not the right thing and it's not a good thing for you. Okay, so when it comes to your health, don't use that mantra. Don't grab onto that mantra and think, even if it's not the best, it's better than nothing at all. That's not true. Okay? And we're going to delve into that and talk a little more about why. So what is the problem with the majority of vitamins on the market? I'm telling you there's a problem. So what's the problem? Let's look at some facts, okay? Most are made with GMO ingredients. The large majority of them. And that really, guys, it doesn't matter where you're getting them. Whether you're buying off Amazon.com, you're going to GNC, you're going to other places. The large majority of them are made with GMO ingredients. Second problem, almost all have either one of these, either too much or too little of the micronutrients that you need. That's a massive problem. I would say more than 90% that's a problem. So why should that matter to you? Let me give you an example, and I'm going to use an example for men here specifically because there's a lot of different micronutrients for men and women where this would be, but I'm going to give you a specific example. So men, if men get excess iron, they get too much iron in their system, it can be toxic to their body, which causes damage to the cells in the body. Too much iron is very toxic for men. A lot, and I've seen a ton of supplements out there that have too much, way too many. The levels are too high for what men should be consuming in a day. And they don't even know that. Okay? The third problem with most of the vitamins on the market, Most vitamins have a coating on the outside of them. And the problem with this coating is that it prevents the body from properly using or absorbing the nutrients. So why would they use a coating like that? Well, it's a way to package a vitamin, and it's a way to keep it solid, to keep it intact, and to give it a longer shelf life. And the way to do that is they use a lot of synthetic substances to do that. Well, it keeps the vitamin intact and allows it to last longer, but the problem is your body can't break that down. Therefore, even if there are nutrients in there your body can use, your body's not able to. That's where the term expensive urine came in, meaning people were taking maybe some vitamins that had some good stuff in them, but because that protective coating, their body couldn't break it down. They were only able to get a little bit of what they needed, and they just peed the rest out. Okay? That's true about the large majority of vitamins you're getting on the market in a lot of these stores. Doesn't matter the brand. It happens across the board all the time. Fourth thing, most micronutrients that are in vitamins, they need essential oils or other components for the body to properly absorb and use them. They do, guys. And as far as having essential oils mixed in there and the right ones to help the body properly absorb these nutrients, none of the vitamins on store shelves provide this. None of them. There's not a single place out there selling them that's providing pure, clean essential oils and the right essential oils for the right micronutrients to help your body process it properly. There's not any. Okay? Let me give you an example of what I mean by this. How many of you are familiar with turmeric or turmeric? Turmeric is the proper way to pronounce it, but everybody says it different ways, and that's okay. So if you've heard of that, or maybe you're taking a supplement, you hear about how good it is for you. It's great for you and great at the cellular level. Your cells need this. Okay? And the active ingredient in turmeric that your cells need is curcumin. Okay? So all turmeric supplements on the market have curcuminoids in them. Okay? Which is one of the active ingredients of curcumin that your body needs. But curcuminoids are poorly absorbed by the body. So you can't get the full value of them if that's how it's being presented to your body. And this is why you'll often hear, if you're taking turmeric, that you need to take it with a fat or black pepper, because that helps. The fat and black pepper, if you're wondering why have people said that, why do they say that, is it true? Well, yes, with most of the turmeric on the market, because your body needs those in addition to break their curcuminoids down in a way that your body can absorb it and process it. The vitamins I will be recommending in this video at the end, that you give you a daily dose of turmeric, and they combine it with essential oils and botanicals to increase the bioavailability of curcuminoids. And because of the way they do it, you get 7 times the absorption rate of their curcumin and curcuminoids in your body. It's amazing, guys. Your body's actually able to get what it needs at the cellular level with the particular vitamins I'm going to recommend for you. Okay? And so why does that work? So that you know the difference between turmeric, the herb or the supplement, and turmeric, the oil. The essential oil has turmerones in it, and they are readily absorbed and can easily act on membranes in the body. So that's a difference. That's why it's important to pair the oil with the supplement and the herb so your body's able to break it down. Make sense? So the fifth thing that most vitamins on the market have, and why there's a problem, is most of them have caffeine added to them. Okay, now my husband and I know this for a fact because we talked to a few family members and friends about this, and we even dealt with this ourselves. We used to take vitamins from a very popular vitamin chain store. I won't name who it is, and we used to go get our vitamins from there. We would say, man, I feel the difference. I take my vitamins, 30 minutes later, I immediately feel the difference. I know they're working. Well, you know what we were feeling? We were feeling the added caffeine in the vitamin. And you always get an immediate boost when you consume caffeine, but you also fall down later when it wears off. Most vitamins on the market have caffeine added to them, and that's why you're feeling something immediate. It doesn't mean it's doing anything for your body. You're getting a caffeine jolt. Not really the best thing for you, especially considering that's not a natural source of caffeine. Okay? And that can wreak havoc on a lot of systems in your body. So the sixth reason why most of the vitamins on the market, why there are issues with them. Vitamins aren't regulated by the FDA. Now that can be a good and bad thing. I love the fact that vitamins aren't regulated by the FDA, which means they're available to us without a prescription, and the government isn't determining what's put in them. That's a great thing, guys. But here's where that can get tricky. Is because they're not regulated by the FDA, you have to know the company that's producing them. You have to be aware of what's being put in them, what's not being put in them, and why that's important. So you're going to have to do a lot of research in your homework to know where it's coming from. Okay? So those are the 6 problems with most of the vitamins on the market. So you may be sitting here thinking, okay, you've told me, you've proven we need supplements to get all the micronutrients we need on a daily basis. But now you're telling me all the vitamins on the market don't do that. So what do I do now? Let me tell you what I recommend and why. There's some very specific vitamins I recommend. We're going to do a deep dive into each of them, and I'm going to tell you why. I recommend something called the Lifelong Vitality Pack, and it's sold from doTERRA. They're an essential wellness company. Okay? This pack contains 3 different vitamins with very specific and very different offerings for the body. Right? The first vitamin, I'm going to show you the bottle. It's called the Microplex VMZ. Okay? This is your food nutrient complex, or your daily vitamin. This vitamin has been formulated to provide the proper amounts of vitamin and minerals to obtain optimum health. So it's been scientifically formulated to give you the proper amount, so you're not going to get too little or too much, but the right amount of what you need. The ingredients are giving you the proper amount needed, like I said. They're also sourced from non-GMO crops. They're properly cultivated, so you know that you're getting everything you need in them. And they're also GRAS compliant. GRAS, G-R-A-S, if you've ever seen that, stands for Generally Recognized as Safe. That is a federal regulation and mandate, and they do fall underneath that. Right? You also get a balanced blend of vitamins A, C, E, and an energy complex of B vitamins, and you get natural vitamin D in this, which is so important. They also contain a proprietary blend of whole food ingredients, which help boost everyday nutrient intake. These include kale, dandelion, broccoli, cabbage, spinach, parsley, kelp, sprouts, and cabbage. Okay, so let me point something out here. I originally said they contain a proprietary blend of whole food ingredients. Listen to the fact and catch on to I said whole food ingredients. Why does that matter? That's different than being derived in a lab. Whole food means it's coming from whole food sources. It's not derived in a lab. It's not a lab derivative like most of the vitamins on the market. Okay? There are 8 different enzymes that have been added to aid in digestion and help with the absorption of the nutrients. Remember I told you, we just talked about how a lot of vitamins don't have the essential oils and other things that are needed for the body to properly absorb the nutrients? This is where these are different. 8 different enzymes are added to aid in the digestion and to help absorb the nutrients. These enzymes are protease, lactase, amylase, alpha-galactosidase, distase, glucoamylase, and peptidase. Okay? And these are all key and they're all crucial in doing that. And they also contain a proprietary whole food blend of necessary micronutrients such as chromium, copper, manganese, selenium, zinc, iodine. We talked about that in depth a minute ago. Magnesium, iron, and calcium. And again, keep in mind that I mentioned they were whole food blend. Again, not derived in a lab. That's important. Okay, so that's your daily vitamin that's going to give you all the essential micronutrients that you need on a daily basis. So that's one of the vitamins in the pack. Okay, Microplex VMZ. The second one we're going to discuss is your XE Omega. And it's just the way it sounds, and it's exactly what you think. It's going to be your Omega vitamin complex, essential oil vitamin complex, okay? This vitamin is a marine and plant-based omega blend. That is huge. It's marine and plant-based. Again, not derived in a lab and not a derivative of other properties, but they literally source it from marine-based and plant-based items. Okay? What makes this so unique and important is that it's a balance between omega-3 and omega-6 fatty acid oils. Now, you hear a lot about omega-6 out there. But you don't hear a lot about omega-3, and your body actually needs omega-3, 6, and 9. You need to understand, these omegas cannot be made in your body. They have to be sourced outside, which means you must get it from your food supply. And these are important. They're super important for your brain. We need these. And there's omega-6 in almost everything on the market. But there's very few sources where you can actually get natural omega-3. And most of those are marine-based. And that would be salmon's high in omega-3, mackerel, sardines. Most of us don't eat enough of that. And even if we do, most of us aren't eating clean, non-GMO sources where we're not getting other toxins. Okay? So we need to supplement with these omega-3s. Here's another knowledge nugget. I want to give you another scientific knowledge nugget here for you to know, and that is the ratio of omega-6 to omega-3 in most people is 15-1. Very lopsided. What it should be is a 1-to-1 ratio in your body. You should have a 1-to-1 ratio of omega-6 to omega-3s in your body. Almost none of us naturally are balanced that way. And that's the key, and the good thing with these is that they're going to give you all the omega-3s you need. There's no omega-6 in here because we get an overabundance of omega-6 in a lot of foods that are out there on the market. We don't need to add any more to our diet. What we do need to add is clean omega-3 sources, and that's what this will do for you naturally. Something else to point out with the alpha CRS, which is your omega essential oil complex vitamin, is that it also has a blend of essential oils in there that's going to help your body absorb these omega-3s and be able to use them properly. So it's going to give you clove, frankincense, thyme, cumin, wild orange, peppermint, ginger, caraway, and German chamomile essential oils. And it helps the body, like I said, better and properly absorb these omega-3 oils. So the last vitamin that's a part of this complex that I want to tell you about that will complete this trio called the Lifelong Vitality Complex is called, let me get the right bottle here for you, Alpha CRS. I absolutely love this, and I'm going to talk to you about why this is so key and crucial, and the fact that there are a few companies that are starting to offer cellular vitamins now on the market, but up until a few months ago, there was nobody offering this. And there's nobody or no other company offering what this particular company is offering in this. So what is so special about this? Why do our bodies need this? It's a cellular vitality complex vitamin that contains polyphenols that protect our cells. So what that means is specifically the ingredients that are in this vitamin are meant to feed your body at the cellular level. Our cells are little bodies and little systems within themselves. They're kind of like their own little city that are running very specific things every day, 24/7. There are what are called organelles inside your cell. You have your mitochondria, your cytoplasm, your Golgi apparatus, your endoplasmic reticulum, and I could go on and on and on. Your DNA is located in the nucleus in there. There's a lot of highly controlled operations that take place inside the cell. And each of these organelles inside the cell require very specific things to function optimally at an optimum pace or way and to function properly on a daily basis. And the specific things are in the alpha CRS give these organelles what they need. It's scientifically genius and amazing, and your body will thank you for it. Okay, so two main objectives of this vitamin. So two of the main objectives are to enhance cellular energy production and to defend the cell against something called oxidative stress. Simply put, all you need to know about oxidative stress is it causes premature cell death. Think of oxidative stress in a term that you can relate to. Think of it like metal. When metal rusts over time and it rusts, it wears away, it erodes. So in essence, that part of the metal dies. It's no longer viable. That's what oxidative stress does to the cell. It kills it. And this vitamin complex is designed to defend against oxidative stress, which means your cells live longer. If your cells live longer, guess what? You live longer. It's how it works, guys. It's science. It's amazing. So here are some specific ingredients in this vitamin if you want to know exactly what it has in it. It has proanthocyanidins. This is from grapeseed. It has quercetin, which is from the Japanese pagoda tree. It has boswellic acids, which is from the Boswellia serrata tree. That's frankincense, in case that sounds familiar to you. Has resveratrol. which is amazing, an amazing antioxidant for your body. Green tea can be high in resveratrol, and berries are as well. It has a specific acid from pomegranate fruit extract, and it has curcumin from the turmeric root. And we talked about the benefits of curcumin earlier and turmeric, and that's in this vitamin. So if you want to know, okay, what are all the benefits from taking this trio of vitamins? I'm going to read you a list of all the different benefits you get if you take these trio of vitamins. Here's what they're going to do in a practical way for your body. General wellness and vitality, antioxidant and DNA protection, energy and metabolism. For those of you who need more energy, here you go. Bone health, immune function, stress management, that's key. Cardiovascular health, it's going to give you healthy skin, hair, and nails. Eye, brain, nervous system health, liver function and digestive health, lung and respiratory health. It's gentle on the stomach, and it's non-GMO, gluten-free, and dairy-free. So with the vitamins I just explained to you and I shared with you, all three of those together are going to give you everything you need on a daily basis, minus probiotics. We'll talk about that in another video because they do something very different, and they're very specific and they have to be separate. But as far as all the micronutrients and everything you need on a daily basis for your body to function properly, those three vitamins will give that to you in the best deliverable way that your body can process it. They're clean, it's good for you. This is really the first time and the only place that I've seen everything offered in the cleanest, most usable way that's out there. And guys, like I said, my husband and I were going to health food stores. We were getting other vitamins. We were doing it before, and I thought it was okay before I really started researching and digging into this. Even with my in-depth science background, even with my husband's science background, we didn't realize a lot of things that were happening. And once I started digging into it and realizing it, I started researching and looking for something better, because I don't believe in the mantra, something's better than nothing, because it's not true. If it's something that's bad, that's not better than nothing. And a lot of the stuff that's out there on the market has so many added things in it, or it isn't giving us what we need, so it isn't better than nothing. You're actually better off doing nothing than wasting your money on something that either isn't going to work, or two, could cause harm. So, and let me point this out to you, because I think this is so important and so key. Think of it like this. To obtain the equivalent of all the ingredients and the benefits that are in the Lifelong Vitality Pack, you would have to purchase $200 to $300 worth of products on the market. It would cost you anywhere from $200 to $300 to get all the same benefits that's in that pack. Do you know what I pay for that pack monthly? $79 for all three of those. That's a huge savings, because doTERRA offers a wholesale discount price to you, and that's the wholesale discount price that you get. Guys, you can't beat that. Not for your health. It's important. And because it contains several desirable benefits in each product, it's the most cost-effective option on the market for supplements. And for me, any of you who know me who are watching this, you know I'm very frugal, we'll say. I call myself cheap, but people say, no, you're not cheap, you're frugal. Either way, I don't care. Call me cheap, call me frugal. I accept both. But I am always looking for the best at the best price. And I know a lot of you are the same. This company gives you, hands down, I can tell you with my scientific education background, this is some of the best, if not the best stuff I've ever seen on the market, and they offer you the best price. It's a win-win, guys. Okay? So, are you ready? Oh, also, I might add, are you ready for this? Let me tell you this. I might add that doTERRA offers on the Lifelong Vitality Pack a 30-day money-back guarantee. So if you take it for 30 days and you're dissatisfied for whatever reason, they offer you a money-back guarantee. So what do you have to lose? What do you have to lose? Now maybe you're sitting there and you're thinking, I'm not sick, I'm getting along just fine, I'm healthy, I'm pretty healthy, so is my family. Guys, you may think you are, and maybe you are, maybe you're fairly healthy right now. But here's what we need to realize. The degradation of our body and a lot of the things that lead to chronic disease and serious disease that people will develop, that doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't happen a lot of times with something that just hits you in a week or 2 weeks or months. That takes years and years and years a lot of times if our body's not getting what they need. It's just like, why do you exercise? Are you going to see the results of what it's going to do for your body. If I exercise today, am I going to see all the results tomorrow? No. I'm not going to see the full results or the end picture I want to see a year from now tomorrow, because I know it's a process. It takes time. It's the same thing with your health and your body. This takes time. You have to give your body the nutrients it needs so that over time you can get to the place that you want to be. Make sense? So, guys, that's the information. For those of you asking, what can I do for better health? What can I do to maintain my health? What can I do to make sure I'm not dealing with chronic disease in the future? And if I have some kind of issues, what can I do to correct that naturally? This would be the place where I would say start. We've got to start feeding our bodies what it needs. Because remember, intelligent design requires meticulous maintenance. Hope you enjoyed this. If you enjoyed the video, you like the information, give me a thumbs up. If you want to know videos that are coming in the future, make sure you hit the subscribe button. If you have questions, you can send them to me. If you look in the comment section, there will be a link for more detailed information. Click on that link. You can get more detailed information on not only in vitamins, how to order them and where to order them, but I'll give you a few more tidbits, some more valuable information that you can take home with you and read. Glad you were here with me. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you next time.